when you step away to take care of yourself, that's a deposit in yourself, right? We talk about bank accounts and deposits. You can't make any more withdrawals if there isn't nothing there. How are you putting deposits in yourself, investing in yourself? And when you're in it to win it, to show those people when you're there, how are you giving deposits to them?
Woo. Well, Holly, I think you've got people ready to go to the bank this weekend. A 1, 2, 3 approach, everybody, to get more present right now. Stop and listen to what others around you need. Listen and pay attention to what you need and find that time to give it to yourself. And then most importantly, when you come back from those moments, be in it to win it, be all in, be present, everybody. Holly Mabry challenges you to think this weekend about how you're going to fully invest in yourself and others. Holly, it's been an absolute privilege.
Can I give you one more thing,
friend?
And give us
one
at a time. One more thing, guys. So many times we won't do something unless we're giving permission. So right now, Curtis and I, we're giving you permission to step away and take care of yourself. Sometimes you need to hear that from somebody else. This is your permission. Take care of yourself this weekend.
Holly, thank you. I promise you, I will take your advice. I appreciate the permission. I challenge every one of you to do the same, everybody. If you want to connect with Holly, find her on Workplace. Get connected to Holly Mabry. She's an amazing partner, resource. She shares motivation and inspiration every single week all over her Workplace posts. Holly, thank you for doing what you do. Appreciate you being a light work guest. This has been fantastic, everybody. Again, if you're watching live on YouTube or in EXP World, you're joining our Level Up live stream. We do this Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Today, we call it Fire Fridays. Starts with light work. Get your weekly energy practice in. In just about 2 minutes, we're going to transition to the EXP Friday Agent Leadership Meeting. This is an exclusive opportunity, Holly.
What's going on in the world today? What's up, guys? So I'm streaming this in Top Agent Experts group right now from Friday, Fire Friday. I actually went to Fire Friday, and it was fire, by the way. That's why I know the piece of content that I'm looking to pull out of this. So for the people that run CRM Grow, you guys will know what I'm talking about. But, so I'm having to go back in and basically I can't download it or anything like that. And so I'm live streaming it on my YouTube as well. And then while I'm here, I might as well push it in Top Agent Experts. And then I'll take it and repurpose it and use some of Rick's stuff that I caught live on Friday. So he's coming up, but hopefully you guys enjoy it, man. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now is curating some content.
Love it. I would like to take a second to have her introduce herself so that everybody knows who she is while she's on screen. And I'm going to just kind of
have audio of this
a little bit while she does that. Babe?
Might have audio.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're very excited to be here with you this morning. If you're on this call, it means you have some kind of commitment to growing yourself, growing your mindset, growing your business, growing your life. And one key leadership piece as we jump in this morning is that leaders plug in. They plug in and they engage and they involve themselves. And one of the greatest simple steps that each of us can take each day is the decision to plug in and to do that strategically. And so as we welcome all of you that are on the call today, I want to acknowledge you creating the space and time to be here. I don't know how many times I hear people from our organization say, yeah, I was going to be there, except for, it's the only time a recruit could meet, or it's the only time a potential seller could meet. And I think to myself, are you kidding me? This is a once a month call and there's not any other times, right? So plugging in, making a decision to plug in, a commitment to plug in. Want to acknowledge everyone that's here and that's doing that as we pass it back to Rick.
Great. Thank you, honey, for that great intro. And yeah, so anytime, I want to start with this, and Casey will probably elaborate a little bit on it in her section. Anytime that you are committing to spending a little time to either learn or pick up nuggets or share or collaborate, you are in complete control of whether or not you get valuable nuggets from there. And what I mean by that is this, that you mentally have to be prepared to find the miracles, to find the nuggets, and you have to be prepared to be willing to learn what's capable of being learned in that time period. In other words, instead of coming with your arms crossed, not necessarily physically your arms crossed, but virtually or from the energy side, you're closed off. But I want to just jump right in for a minute because I really want to give my wife some really valuable time this morning to share her nugget. This is my 43rd year in real estate. I just a few months ago celebrated my 42nd year anniversary. So I'm into my 43rd year of real estate. This is my 5th recession, 5th. So for me, this is not something new. This is something where I have to dig into my bag of skills and tricks and use them when I haven't used them for a while. Now, we've all seen all of the funny memes that are out there. I saw one the other day that said, attention all agents in the market for less than 3 years. A price reduction is when the seller has to reduce their price to sell the home. Now, I laughed my rear off at that little meme, and I found that a lot of people didn't think it was that funny. But the reason I can remember all of this so wholeheartedly is not just what happened between 2008 and 2011, but what happened in the 90s and what happened in the 80s. Like, I can remember all of those different times that this happened. And there was a little one in 2001 that a lot of people forgot about. So many of them in my career. And really, I want to address the productivity side today. I want to address that we are real estate agents, the majority of us, and that we have a job to do, and that is to provide for ourselves and our family. Now, as much as we like to say that I got into real estate for freedom, we know that that's not true. We got into real estate for freedom, but what we get is flexibility, not as much freedom. And what about how we say, well, I got into real estate because I could make more money in less time, I could provide for my family, and I could have that flexibility. Well, those are all great. Are you honoring that? When you leave the house during the day to go do what you do, and you come home, is your family, your children, your allies, your loved ones, are they educated enough to say, welcome back, did you get a lead today? Now, can you imagine if they were? Like, can you imagine if your sarcastic 13-year-old suddenly knew that when you got home every day, it was that sarcastic 13-year-old's job to say, hey, Dad, hey, Mom, did you get a lead today? Because isn't that all you do? Isn't that what you're supposed to do all day long? Right? So I had an analogy thought this morning while I was listening to Amy Weaver talk a few minutes ago, that have you ever been on the freeway late for an appointment, and up ahead you see there's an accident and the lanes are backing up, and you do your best to move way over to the left because you see what's called rubberneckers. And rubberneckers are people who just want to kind of see what happened, right? They want to see the fire trucks and the police trucks and the ambulances or whatever's out there, or the flames coming from the engine of the car. They want to see all of that. But you would maybe like to see it too, but you're in a hurry, you have an appointment. So you're just trying to move yourself over to the left and get around all of that to get to your appointment. Well, guess what? That's what a recession is. A recession is a distraction on the freeway. It doesn't change our activities. It doesn't change what we need to do to create income for ourselves so that we can have the life we deserve to have. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. You might say, well, Rick, you're really minimizing it. You know, they just said that inflation is above 9.1%, the highest it's been in over 40 years. Great. That's not the first time I've heard dramatic stories from the news about it's the highest ever, it's the worst ever. Well, guess what? I like to pick the news and the stories that support my goal and where I'm going. Yes, you can always find a story that is exaggerative or sensational, and you can find a story. Casey and I talk about this. You can always find a story that matches what you want it to say. Always. I can remember when I worked for my uncle's brokerage in the early years, there was only a few of us in the office by that time. This was 1983, and the lady I was going to interview for a listing was saying that she was interviewing these bigger companies. We had like 8 agents in our office by that time. Maybe it was 84, 85, I'm not sure. And I loved hearing her say that. And then what did I do? I went to the newspaper, because that's what we had in the 80s, newspapers, until I found an article that said why working with a small brokerage is better. Can you believe I was able to find that? I clipped it out and I copied it on the mimeograph machine. Now I'm using some old terms now, and I put that in my presentation. I won that listing. But I asked her, how'd I win the listing? She said, your enthusiasm. So she didn't really read the article, but I needed that to feel good about myself. So let's remember that and I would encourage you to do the same thing. I'm out looking for the news that supports my goal to sell more houses, to take over more market share, to get my unfair share in real estate. And what are those news pieces? You can all get them. But remember this, the recession is like the accident on the freeway. You're going to go around it. You're going to go, as soon as you get by it, what do? You put that gas pedal down, get all the way up to 65, 70 miles an hour and get going because you're late for your appointment. And that's the urgency with which I'm treating this market. Okay, someone said the other day as an analogy, well, the market was going 135 miles an hour for 2.5 years there, and now it's just down to a regular 55 miles an hour. The market can be what it is. That doesn't mean I have to go down to 55 miles an hour. That doesn't mean you have to. So when I think like I am doing listing lead generation like a crazy man right now, more than I did all the time in the last 3 years, really. And I'm searching. I have boxes right here. Ask Casey. I came home with all these boxes. She goes, what are those? I go, those are files from old listing appointments I went to over the years that never listed with me and never listed with anybody else. So I'm going to call every single one of them. What are you doing to pick up the pace? What are you doing to go as fast as you were going, but being on purpose about what you are going to do? Like, am I going to go out and create urgency with my buyer leads? Am I going to go out and find more listing leads? Am I making time every day to speak to people on the phone? And then there's the nerve about, can I speak to them about real estate or will that sound salesy? Well, yes. No matter what, sometimes you're going to sound salesy. But if you're picking up the phone and talking to hundreds and hundreds of people a month and saying, how the heck are you? How have you been the last 2.5 years? It's been crazy. It's been nutso. How are you doing? I remember saying this to a lady the other day. You know, I just really wanted to check in on you. And if you ever need anything, even if you just need me to drop a half a gallon of milk on your front porch. And she started laughing. And I said, which part was funny? You know, because I wanted to figure out what I'd said that was funny. And she goes, the fact that you said you'd have dropped a half a gallon of milk on my front porch. She goes, about 1.5 years ago, I should have called you to do that for me. So just reaching out and offering help. Now I want to get down to some statistics really quickly. And those statistics are going to be things that help support me when I'm talking to my clients, okay? So what do I mean when I'm talking about statistics? Well, there's a statistic that says that 86% of all people that quote statistics are full of it. Well, believe me, I'm only giving you stuff that I research. Now, how do I research that? I like to listen. I listen to podcasts once in a while, I listen to YouTubes, and I like to go on a website called Keeping Current Matters. Keeping Current Matters has the economic news I'm looking for in the real estate industry so I can share it with my clients. But I get stuff sent to me, stuff that I wouldn't have been able to look up myself. In fact, wonder how often they get it and how did they get it or how did they find it. And a couple of things that I really learned that have helped me, and they make me understand because I have 2 sons that are in their 30s. One's 33, one's 36. And I know that my 36-year-old owns a home. He bought it in his 30s, and he's looking to buy another home, and he's in his 30s. But guess the number I found out? I had some financial devastation personally that happened between 2008 and 2011 when I owned 9 real estate franchises with 1,000 agents in them. Believe me, I know the devastation that a recessionary market can do financially. I learned a lot in that recessionary market about what I could do personally as a real estate agent, but I couldn't get everyone else to do it. So my offices suffered, ended up having to close them, lost almost everything. It's okay. I learned, right? You win some, you learn some. So what am I looking at now? I'm looking at taking over market share. I'm looking at taking more business. And I know that real estate agents who don't have skills will leave the market. This is a skills-based market. We were in a lead receiving market. That's where you could just lay your phone down and it would ring and someone would say, come and sell my house or come and sell me a house. It ain't happening now. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to be a lead generator, not a lead receiver. Lead receiving markets, I can remember, I've had several of them. 89 was one of them. 99 was another one of them. All right, 2003 and 4, ooh, my phone rang like crazy. But we get comfortable and sort of complacent in lead receiving markets. Some of the statistics between 2007 and 2009, and even up to 2010 and 11, equity in American homes was the lowest ever on record. And I'm sure a lot of you know this, and I'm also sure a lot of you don't. Equity in American homes right now is the highest it's ever been on record. In fact, 41% of all Americans own their home outright, meaning no loan on it. So why would I quote something like that to a buyer or seller? Well, so that they would have confidence in the market. We have 55 million more 30 to 40-year-olds right now than we had in 2008, 9, and 10. 55 million more. I got a couple of them myself. And where were they in 2007, 8, 9, that area? They were teenagers. They weren't in the buying market. They all are now. 50 to 60% of our buyers are in that price range. And I watch it. I think about how many of that age group are buying homes from our real estate team. Now, those statistics can be very helpful. Did you know that according to the US government, we are 5 million households short, which is why all the governments, all the state governments, the federal government are all talking about a housing shortage. All right? All of the major economists are saying that appreciation is going to continue, that purchasing homes is a hedge against inflation. These are all the great news. But do a lot of our customers understand that? No, they understand feelings more than facts. So we have to meet our customers where they are. So here's what I'm going to leave you with. If you were door knocking, door knock more. If you were social media-ing, if that's a word, then do more of that. Do more and more of it. I can remember in 2005 and 6, if I knocked on 100 doors, I'd get 3 listing leads. But I remember in 2008, it would take me 200 doors to get 1 listing lead. Did the activity change? No. The statistics about the activities changed, so I had to do more of the same things. That's all I'm asking you to do. Go 95 miles an hour in the left lane and take this market seriously, because it's going to give you rewards if you reward it with your effort. Does that make sense? Like, get out there. And I love it. People knock on doors. They go, Rick, you do all the old-fashioned stuff. I don't want to do that stuff. I don't want to. Everything works. Nothing doesn't. Pick something. Okay? Distractions are everywhere. All right. So what I want to do is remind you that you can find good news and you can find bad news. I'm going to urge you to get the distractions of the negativity away from you. Like, look for the good stuff. Look for the thing that supports your goals. And I'm going to ask you this last thing. Get rid of the negativity around you. It is our job to be the example to our consumer public. Get on social media and tell them it's a great time to buy. It's a great time to sell. There's never been a better time to buy your forever home right now. There's never been a better time to move up in your home from a smaller home to a bigger home. There's never been a better time. Use those words, okay? Be the message. You be the message. But guess what else you're influencing? You're influencing all of those other negative realtors out there who are dying on the vine because they're not creating the skills they need to succeed. That's not you, is it? That's not us. I love being here at EXP because they're supplying us with Level Up. They're giving us all the tools we need to skill up so that we can stay in and create a difference. That's my message today. I want to move on quickly and introduce my incredible wife. I'm not introducing her this way because she's my wife, but because when I met her, she was a brand new agent in 2005, and she had just gotten her license, and she was sitting in a class I was teaching for Keller Williams. And she was, raising her hand, very attentive, brand new agent. But as I got to know her, and 3 years later we started dating, she left the real estate industry and went into another industry completely. And she skyrocketed in that industry. She's been in that industry now for over 14 and a half years and created a worldwide team in the distribution world for anti-aging health and wellness products. But the thing that I respect and admire most is she is sought after all over the world to have people asking her to come and speak to them, coach them, share with them about transformation, about life. about business and about success and getting results from your activities. So without further ado, I want to introduce the person I love more than life itself, the person who's changed my life dramatically, and the person who, when she opens her mouth, nothing but pearls come out. My wife, Casey Counselor.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and so happy to share the screen and stage, the virtual stage with you today, and also for the invitation from our EXP family to be here and to share. As Rick mentioned, I am super passionate about transformation. That is different than motivation and inspiration. And today we're going to talk a little bit on the building side and how that comes into play. Motivation and inspiration are amazing, however, fleeting. Transformation is when something actually changes form. And my goal and objective today during our time together is that something actually changes form in your mind, in your mindset, in your attitude, in your energy about building and your vision for what you want to build here in growing an organization within EXP. Now, I had this really incredible experience over the weekend. I was at a leadership retreat that I was co-facilitating, and I was down by the river getting ready and getting grounded and centered for that retreat. It's probably not a surprise that since a lot of what I talk about and have built my brand and my life around is transformation, as we think of butterflies when it relates to transformation. And I was sitting down on the bridge, and literally there was this stream, this river that was running over the rocks. It was so loud. It was beautiful. I'm sitting there with my journal, and through this thick forest of trees, the early morning sunlight's coming through the trees, and it makes its way, this ray of sun makes its way down through the trees onto this rock that when it lit up with the sunlight, I noticed the rock. And so I stopped journaling and I looked down, and what I saw there was one perfectly lit, beautiful, spectacular, bright orange winged butterfly. And as I looked at it, literally my breath was taken away. And in the moment that I went to reach for my phone and looked back, it was gone. Well, it wasn't actually gone. It was standing on that same exact rock, except for that it looked just like the rock because its wings had folded up and was in an upright position. And so for all intents and purposes, it looked just like the rock it was sitting on. And I had this aha moment at that time, which was that it's not simply about transformation and changing form. The butterfly never goes back to the caterpillar. It's that as the transformation opens and happens, it's about staying open to fly. So I'm going to invite you that over the next few minutes, I may talk about some things that may push some buttons for you. And if I do, I'm happy because it is an intention to help maybe look at things in a different way or from a different perspective, knowing that as we stay open, it really positions us to be able to fly and transform everything that we touch, the lives that we touch, including our own. Now, when we think about building an organization within EXP, I have experience building global organizations of people working together as one united team, regardless of market, language, physical location in the world, education, background. That is my experience for 14 and a half years. And so I've learned some really important things about what it takes to build a long-term, sustainably growing, scaling business. I'm going to say that again, a long-term growing, sustainably growing business. And so there's some key principles that come into play. Number one, I'm going to talk about your vision. And if you have a vision to take advantage of the model that EXP has offered as a way to pay it forward to other agents and position them, help them position themselves in ways more favorable than they could otherwise. And as a result of that paying it forward, you grow and build an organization of thriving real estate agents within EXP, you're going to win at a really high level. However, it takes a vision to do that. And so when it comes to your vision, I want you to write these two things down. Your vision is really two things. It's number one, what am I saying to myself? So write that down. Number one, what am I saying to myself? What am I telling myself? And number two, what am I telling other people as it relates to my vision? See, my experience is a lot of times people have a vision and they're quiet about it, or they don't have one that's clearly formulated and so they're not communicating it, or they do have one that's clearly formulated and they're not communicating it. And the communication of your vision will be so individual to you. It's the thing that you're going to wrap your arms around, your heart, your soul. It's going to be the thing that is going to have you willing to do the sweat equity, the blood, sweat, the tears, the things that are inconvenient, the things that are uncomfortable to move forward in the realization of that vision. And so it's really important to check in as it relates to your vision. What is it that you're telling yourself or saying to yourself? And then when you open up your mouth and talk about what you're committed to growing and building here with EXP, what is the vision that you're communicating to other people? Those things will be very key as you move forward. Maybe you're brand new to EXP and you want to grow and build an organization. You know, I think back to when Rick was brand new with EXP and what was going on for him at that moment in his career, and what inspired him in that moment was that, wow, you know, he was getting close to 40 years of being in the industry and at a place in a chapter in his life where he was in many ways rebuilding still in his late 50s as he came to EXP. And this awareness that, wow, the model that EXP offers allows someone that's got a short runway to rebuild quickly if they need to and reposition themselves in a really powerful way. And it also has the ability for leveling up the next generation of leaders that will be real estate agents in the industry to be able to have something that Rick never experienced as he was an agent in the industry, which was leverage at the highest level possible, leverage without risk, because usually leverage comes with risk, and the ability to build something bigger than himself that as he progressed through his sales career would give him a quality of life and a future not available outside of how this particular vehicle works. Now that's a pretty exciting vision if you ask me, and I'm a real estate agent that's the next leader in the industry, a next layer of leadership coming up through the industry to be able to position in my career that way. So think about your vision, how you're communicating, what you're saying to yourself, what you're saying to others. And when you start to notice what those things are, you'll quickly catch yourself if you're off track. Now, here's the second concept that I want to talk about today. And that is as it relates to an abundance mindset or a scarcity mindset when it comes to growing and actually building an organization here. Because I love the book that was written in 2019 by Simon Sinek called The Infinite Game. And what he talks about is a lot of people in business and in life are playing a finite game. Like a football game is a finite game. You play the game to win the game. To what? To win the championship, and it's over. And a lot of people are playing business and life as a finite game. Well, what would that mean in the context of building an organization with EXP? I remember when I started my career in building global sales teams that it was really this thought of don't cut off your nose today for tomorrow. And that was shared with me because I had attended an event, and because of how quickly I was progressing and building and growing, I was receiving stage time. And because I was receiving stage time, I was very much coached that with stage time, there's a responsibility and a privilege. And the responsibility of stage time when you're influencing other people's or impacting other people's business is that there is a heavy responsibility that comes with stage time, with being elevated or promoted where you have a larger voice. And it was after a certain event, and it happened to be not anywhere in my local market. As a matter of fact, I was in another country, and someone approached me after that event, and I really connected and I resonated with that person. And they said, you know, I've been looking at this for a while, and I have never felt the connection like I feel with you, and I would really like to work together with you. Except for I met that person at an event, and it wasn't my contact, it was someone else's. And the coaching that I received in that time was so key. It was really about building an infinite business, one that can go on past a single win, past a year, past 5 years, really into something that would become generational when built on principles. And I had a critical decision to make in that moment. Like, hey, you know what? I connect with you. I resonate with you. I would love to work with you versus how did you even end up here and who have you been talking to? And respecting that relationship and the investment that had been made in that person long before the day that I showed up on stage. Because when we show up on stage, people tend to listen to, respect, and follow if they resonate with the message, the people that show up on stage. And so when playing an infinite game and building an organization here, I would say that each of us have a responsibility to play an infinite game for the sake and the culture of this community and the brand called EXP. One where we have each other's backs, even if we're not financially connected in either way. And we support and lift one another and create an overall community. Because let's be honest, everybody's sharing everything. There's no secrets. Everyone's sharing everything. And so by plugging in, we can all learn from each other. We can all grow together, whether we're connected financially in the business or not. Now, some of you, that may be like a very abrasive message and go, no, I like to win. No matter what, I am going to win. Well, I would encourage you to read The Infinite Game, because when people say they're number one, it comes from ego. I'm number one. Number one based on what? Compared to what? As things shift, now what? Like, being number one is a finite game. It's a short game. It's a little play in a very big picture. And as you start to think about that abundance and scarcity that can go with building and growing an organization, you know, we've had experiences, because we've been around long enough, where we'll show up at an event and Rick will be like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe you're here. And it's someone that he has talked to about EXP before. You know, maybe it's been 3, 4, 5 months. Maybe it's been a couple of years. And what is the attitude that we take on as leaders? It's not like, oh, I'm so great to see you at the event. We need to like get back together and pick up where we left off. Because if you're interested in EXP, like, I'm so excited to work with you. No, that would be poaching at an event. So when we start to like become clear and set some standards, right? How we personally work, if this works for you, use it. If it doesn't work for you, don't use it. However, we're very clear that nobody owns prospects. And when nobody owns prospects, there's nothing for you to get your knickers in a twist about. So nobody owns prospect means that until someone's with EXP, they're an open prospect, unless they're actively in a due diligence process with someone else, meaning they've got that next call set up, they've got that next meeting set up, they're plugged in, they're engaged, they're in an active conversation. If that was happening and that was a year ago and nothing's happened since, would that be somebody that's actively being prospected? No, that was somebody that was prospected some time ago that is not necessarily in an active prospecting process, even if they're on a drip email campaign. There's no like physical, actual going through a process with someone. So these are some things to like really think about on how you want to grow and build an organization. Do you want to have cannibalism in your organization where there's no trust and it's just everyone's for themselves? Or do you want to build something that over the course of time becomes stronger and bigger and stronger and bigger because of the culture that you decide to create in your organization that creates a space for people to grow and people to thrive, for people to truly be working in partnership versus competition with each other. And these principles are so important. Entire civilizations have risen and fallen based on things like this. The little things matter. How we talk about people matters. How we position and talk about the company matters. All of those things matter, and words have power. When you use your words, you are speaking the future into existence. You are speaking the future into existence by the words that you use that you choose to use. And so slow down maybe for a minute and become aware about, what am I actually saying right now? Who am I saying that to? And based on the words that I'm using, what am I speaking into existence? And is it aligned with my vision? Is it aligned with my values? Is aligned with the culture that I'm wanting to create? We come from a perspective that there is enough for everyone. There is more than enough for everyone. And the opportunity that we have in life and in business is to get so crystal clear about who we are, about principles that we would stake our life on, and then live by those principles, even if in the short term it seems like we're losing. I'm going to say that again. Staking our life on a set of principles, even if in the short term it feels like we're losing. Because what we know, based on how principles work and how life works, is that when you choose to operate your life and your business from a set of principles that stand the test of time, you will grow a business and an organization that will stand the test of time. You will not just attract people to you, you will attract the right people to you, the kind that will build your brand and build your culture and build your organization in an infinite game. Literally, if you play this game right, and if you do it at a high level, you can build something here that will outsurvive you and your lifetime into your families and their lifetimes, because that is how the model is set up. How each of us choose to come to this game and how we participate and how we play in this game will dictate what we create. And so my invitation to you is have a big picture, vision, one that you're committed to. Tell it to yourself, like, even if it hasn't happened yet, speak it into existence and then go out and do the activities that are going to create it in real life. And when you talk to other people, let them know what your vision is and where you're going, and be passionate about that. And in the context of all of that, when you choose to do that in an infinite game, which is about a cause much bigger than you or your personal success or your personal business or your organization, when you play an infinite game, you will create a much different outcome than the finite game that gets created in needing to win or needing to be number one right now. I know these are a lot of big concepts to think about. However, I'm going to take us back to where we started at the beginning of the conversation as I wrap up, and that is back to the river. And as I was sitting on the bridge with the river flowing underneath it, looking at that rock with that butterfly on it, when it's open, it can fly, and it's a beautiful thing. When it's closed, even though it's transformed and nothing's happening and it's going nowhere and there really wasn't any beauty, it was black and it blended in with its surroundings. As I was looking and watching that river flow, I had this epiphany of that in the masses of humans that have ever lived and walked this planet, and the masses of humans that will still come and have yet to live and walk this planet. Each of us are like one drop of water in that river in a sea of humanity. And the river is like rushing. And the drop of water, if you were to pick one drop of water and follow its journey around the rocks, they all have their own journey. You have your own journey. I have my own journey. Rick has his own journey. We are each on a very individual journey in this thing called life and business. And in all those drops of water, what's the one that I'm going to know most about? I'm going to know most about mine, my own journey, my own trials, my own obstacles, my own things that I've overcome and that I've transformed. And only I will truly know the depth of what that experience has been. I am the person that wakes up in the morning and looks myself in the mirror, and in my heart of hearts, either is willing to look straight on, proud, with a growth mindset, knowing I'm always improving and looking to become better, when I'm making decisions that are in alignment with a vision and with principles and with values. And then there's sometimes when I get up, there have been in the past, and I look in the mirror and I maybe don't want to look back, or I don't want to see what's looking back at me. We each have the opportunity every day to get up and be proud of and look at the person in the mirror that's looking back at us and go, you know what? I've got a vision that's much bigger than myself. I'm playing an infinite game where we all win collectively at a high level, and it's something that will outsurpass anything about me being number one or me being the best or anything that has to do with my ego, my need for recognition, or my need to be seen, and really about a greater cause of lifting and impacting other people. And we all have the opportunity to do that every day. So as you go back into your business today, as you go into your organizations today, I would ask for you to be more aware, to be more intentional, and to recognize that everyone that has come together in this model, when we have a culture where there's trust and people are lifting each other and the model is treated the way the model is designed, the only thing that can happen is that we thrive and grow. And yes, that will require challenge. And yes, that will require obstacles, because in order to do that, it's about the refining process of becoming who we're meant to become, to be achieving and realizing those things on the other side. And so do that with intention, do it at a high level, and go and bless some lives today. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and to share with you today. We'll look forward to seeing you all at Build and then subsequently at EXPCon coming up later this year.
All right, Amy.
Hey guys, we're
Who's
back.
fired up?
What I
That was
am.
amazing. Like, and I love.
Many notes. I'm sorry. You love what?
No, totally. Well, I'm excited too because The Infinite Game, Simon Sinek, absolutely one of my favorite books that I've read in the last few years. So I loved how you shared how it had impacted you. So just really,
I love
really
the
special.
imagery of the butterfly on the rock. I will take that and use it and remember it. So good job, you guys. And Rick, you know the market. You win some, you learn some. I absolutely love that. And everything works, nothing doesn't. So you guys, I hope you took great notes from these amazing people, these amazing leaders. I am going off of this meeting fired and inspired. This is Fire Friday. I hope you feel fired and inspired. I just have a couple more announcements. So I'm going to get over to that. An important reminder, we don't.
Boom. There we go. Let's see. Live and direct. Okay, so looks like I'm live. So cool. All right, guys. So what I did right there, that was Fire Friday. Okay, and this is part of the level up stuff we're doing. Monday, Motivational Mondays tomorrow. Kicking off with Motivational Monday. It'd be interesting to see who's with that. They probably already have the link up on YouTube. Then Wednesday is tied in with 2 hours. Like they're bringing in, an alpha or a beta in that spot right there. And then the icons will be stacked up against that second hour. Like we're about to roll into, or we're not going to watch it because I wanted to get Rick and Angie, whatever, I forget her name, carved out of there. Right. So we can't download videos from YouTube anymore, even if we have the technology or that software to be able to extract it. So what I did is we'll just start to create more content, right? So then I pushed that on YouTube, and then I pushed this in Top Agent Experts. And I had some audio issues in the beginning, and I'll go through and edit that out before it posts live. But what I was doing was I was getting this piece right here of whatever the 2 hours, 2.5 hours that it went for on Friday, or hour and a half or whatever, because it had the other stuff, Curtis's stuff on there before. And then I'm taking it and I'm going to repackage it in CRM Grow and making it part of my drip system and education system or agent attraction stuff. So I'm going to use it for a couple of different purposes. All right. So that's what I was doing. So you probably was like, why is he streaming in here? We've got a good hour. I'll format that down. I'll even leave it up in here and pin it. Rick was on fire. He said this was his 5th recession that he's been through. And he talked about, those 10 franchises he had. Damn near he lost all of them, 1,000 agents during the last turn, right? I mean, pretty much I was having to get out of insurance because of it, merged me into real estate. And I pretty much got into real estate when everybody was getting out of it. And what I experienced in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, I will never, ever experience it again in my life. When some people are like, why am I so radical sometimes? It's because of that pain right there that I experienced. And I was only 28 years old. And I was just getting my career off the ground and just getting going, and damn near about took me out too. Look, okay, I jumped into real estate, started making $300 a week because of it, right? Granted, I didn't want to get a job. I wanted an opportunity. I wanted flexibility. I wanted to be able to learn something, right? So it wasn't about the money, and it really wasn't about the money in those, 2009, 10, 11, boom, 2012.